Welcome back once again for our look through the range, maybe not even the core range, because one of them was a finish of the Loch Lomond Inchmurrin Island series of single malt whiskies. What have we got this time?
We have the 18-year-old. It is bottled at 46%, not chill filtered. Now, we tried in the past the Inchmurrin, by Loch Lomond, 12-year-old. It was quite divisive. Tim rated a stonking 90 points. I was a little more restrained on 79.
That was a whiskey that had a very, very strange, I referred to it as a slightly Irish moss, slightly almost like cough medicine kind of a thing. It was a whiskey that was very, very zany.
Yeah.
And a whiskey that, because of that zaniness, was going to hit different people in different ways. It just kind of got lucky in that I thought it was really endearing.
Yeah.
But I could have just as easily, and another drinker would have just as easily said, this is weird and I hate it. Making weird whiskey always runs that risk of someone's either going to, when you've got something, a real outlier like that, you're either going to really hate it or really like it.
Whereas I did not absolutely hate it, but it was definitely not ticking all my flavour boxes. However, see what it's like with an extra 6 years of maturation.
Yeah, which is
different mix of casks.
Fairly long time.
Yeah.
This will be a mix of bourbon and sherry, just like the 12 was, like most core ranges are. Since making that video, I did a bit more research and found that it is very likely that Inchmurrin, or the Loch Lomond distillery, their names are fairly interchangeable, they have sort of a historical dispensation to use their output of a Lomond, I should say Lomond, not Lowland, still in their whiskey. And I think that is probably what results in the weirdness of this single malt. Some of that make has come from something that is not 100% a pot still.
Oh, right.
It's come from a Lomond still. And so some of this output may be from a similar thing. A Lomond still, for those that don't know, is it's pot still on the bottom, but then it has distilling refractory plates on the top, just like a continuous still. So you can put the plates in where you want to take the spirit off. So it's like you fill it like a pot still, but then you run it like a continuous still. Only it then stops because it's a pot still.
So you kind of column distilling the
you
distillate
get
from out of a pot still?
You get the control. You get the control of your fractional distilling of a continuous still, but then you still have your batched nature of a pot still. They're a weird thing. They don't really exist anymore, but they do here. And I think they're sort of grandfathered in so that it's still considered malt whiskey from the Loch Lomond distillery. So very, very, very strange. And I thought very evident on the 12, which it got very lucky and I thought was really good. Whether or not we'll see it here in as much abundance, we will find out, I suppose. So 46%, coloured, alas, but unchill filtered, so the taste, the flavour should not be particularly effective.
Getting some rich sultanas.
That's very rich. That's very rich and very sweet.
Christmas pudding warmth on the nose already. Very festive. Appropriate for this time of year, heading in towards the Yuletide season.
That's a profoundly different whiskey to the 12. That's almost like it reminds me of Long Morn, actually. Yeah, really, really buttery rich, like you mentioned Christmas pudding, almost like a brandy sauce on a Christmas pudding.
A bit of a Glenfarclas or a Ben Rinnes.
Yeah.
A lot of spicy fruit pud.
Yeah, I think they've massively upped the sherrywood ratio on this one. I think that's abundantly clear, bringing all those fruity pudding flavours over.
And just the sheer age of it. It doesn't have the sort of heavy, sort of dank heft I'd usually expect from an 18-year-old, but at the same time, it's got a richness and complexity there. Which
some 18s, you might think whiskey just gets more concentrated as it gets older. There's a lot you can do in the blend. If you remember back to our 18-year-old Glenfarclas, it's one of the lighter-bodied and lighter-coloured whiskey of the whole range, and that range isn't coloured. So there's a lot of tuning that can happen, and a lot of malarkey that can go on with using second and third fills to make an old whiskey that doesn't have an awful lot of wood character involved. But this one, I think certainly really, really punching hard in the sherry category here, way more than the 12 was. The 12 was very, very interesting and weird and mineral and strange tasting. This one is much, much more conventional.
It's a generous hit of what I can describe as being like peach juice or peach nectar. Don't know why, it's just peaches is springing to mind.
There's certainly ripe stone fruit. Peaches more than apricots, I think. Yeah. Anyway, let's see.
That is profoundly fruity, spicy, warming, and just rewarding.
That is a fulsome whiskey. That is...
Yeah. It is ongoing and just stratified. Just layer upon layer of flavour and nuance, one atop the other.
Yeah, that is hugely, I think complete is the only way to describe that. That leaves no bases uncovered.
If you want to tell someone what you mean when you talk about whiskey being rich, if you introduce an idea of richness in whiskey to somebody, this is the way to do it. Just the sheer amount of things happening, all distinct, all standalone, yet harmonising well. This is the textbook example.
I think that might be amazing. Is that amazing, Dave?
That is really something.
I think that's...
I'm going to take another dram and just hold it a little bit longer in the mouth.
You know, funny enough, it still reminds me a bit of Loch Lomond, but that reminds me so much of the new Glenallachie 18, which I was able to taste, but wasn't able to secure a bottle. If anything, this is a little richer and more full-on, though. I think there's more sherry going on here.
Yeah, and there's more than just the Christmas pud characters I got from the nose, too. There are oaty golden syrup biscuits. We call them Anzac biscuits here in the Antipodes. Very sweet rolled oat biscuit. There's gentle spices, gingerbread, shortbread.
Ginger, certainly. Yeah, glazed ginger or cooked ginger. Ginger snaps.
A little bit of... If you've ever tried the traditional Scottish clootie dumpling, it is a boiled suet pudding with fruit and grains and spices. A little bit of that. Even just faint hints of haggis, for sort of a really well-made haggis, of course, which is rich and grainy with spices. You might have
lost me at haggis, but I 100% agree about that. This is just chock full of baked goods. There's biscuits, the Anzac biscuits, the rolled oats and syrup biscuits. That's spot on.
Yeah,
that really typifies everything.
The haggis comment I'm getting because just the gentle sort of steamed mixture of barley and spices and just a little bit of savouriness. Yeah.
There's sweet shortbread sort of drizzled with honey as well.
It is a real gift that keeps on giving in terms of what you actually taste out of it.
And there is... The most surprising thing is that there is none of that bizarre character that was replete within the 12 years old. There's none of that weird cough syrup, Irish moss, mineral kind of a thing. It's gone. This is suddenly exceptional, though it is, and it really is exceptional. It's conventional. It's a really, really good, rich, sherry-dominant old whiskey.
Yeah.
That is fairly... normative.
And if you like your whiskey sweet and fruity, as I do, then it is delivering that in spades, but there's more besides too. There are subtle savoury notes, and just a breadth of flavour and character. The sheer range of what it offers up is what's making it stand out. Now I've had a little water there.
So with the water, it behaves very predictably. It gets sort of fruitier, faster.
Yep, more fruit, but less distinct delineation between those different flavours. It's homogenised it more, made it a little bit sweeter. Hasn't improved it, I'd say. It's maybe taken a bit more of a slightly canned fruit direction.
It's quickened the palate. Much less baked goods, much less vibrant fruit. Yeah. It's turned it from a really sort of a thoughtful after dinner whiskey into a real refreshing whiskey. You could have this sort of both sides of the meal really. Good after dinner whiskey on its own. This is more of an aperitif kind of a style. I actually almost like this a wee bit more, given that it's kind of a hot summer day here. This one's very refreshing, which I appreciate. But either way, I think stunning whiskies on both sides. This is giving me kind of the same feeling of we tried a, what is it called, Deanston 12-year-old, fairly unassuming whiskey as this is, which turned into just a profoundly complete and incredibly good whiskey, without making too much of a, without coming on a particularly airs about how exclusive it was. This is very much in the same camp. This is, as 18-year-olds go, this is a very, very cheap whiskey. You can pick this up. This is sort of if Glenfiddich is the sort of the flagpole for what's usually the cheaper, at least until you get past 18, at which point things go into bonkers wonka land in terms of anything can cost anything. Who knows? This probably comes in, I think, around on par or just under the Glenfiddich median of 12 and 18-year-old whiskey prices, which is not too bad in today's climate. But yeah, this one is stunningly conventional for Loch Lomond compared to the 12 at least, but also in its own right stunningly good. This is a 92 pointer for me. It's just really, really, really nice, and it's not challenging or weird or peculiar like the 12 was. It's a whiskey that anybody could appreciate. There's whiskey it's impossible to hate, I think. It would take an absolutely bizarre, as long as they were still a whiskey drinker. I mean, if you bring someone up on nothing but Ribena and give them this, obviously not going to like it. But, whiskey drinker the world over could not find something not to love in this one.
Unless your palate is limited to only enjoying things which are bone dry and heavily peated. In that case, you wouldn't like this, but if you have any taste for the sweeter side of things, then this is going to deliver in abundance. It's just such a cornucopia of, just layered, sweet.
It's phenomenally good. What do you think?
And
can you
I'm
coalesce that into a score?
I can, and it is remarkably consistent. It is also a 92.
Yeah, it's stunningly good. One of the best 18-year-olds we've tasted, and one of the best whiskies we've tried this year. You always know it's onto a good thing when you get such sort of concise scores between the two. It means that you don't have to be of a particular palate, because ours are fairly far apart in terms of what we're after. Yeah. This is a whiskey with something for everybody, and it's got a lot for everybody too. So good on Loch Lomond for this one. I think this is tremendous, and this is going to go on my buy list for whiskies that we point this, we even review it. We've done it. I just want to drink it. It is that good. So that's always good to see. So we'll be back with something probably not going to beat this one, not immediately, but it'll do its darndest, and we'll just have to have a rummage and see what we come up with. So thank you for watching once again. If we've gone long, it's because we were enjoying it so much. Yes. So thanks for sticking with us. Come back very, very soon. Slandra, keep safe. We'll be right back.